Just about correct there, sir. Hello, and thank you for stopping by. Wow, that was epic. Thank you for stopping by the Massachusetts Beer Reviews channel of YouTube. Before this started, Eric, the Lions fan, counted us down to 3, 2, 1, and the thing actually started. Hello, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews. I am Thomas Metal 75. I will tell you, my name is Eric Fraudfelter. First time ever live. All right, and this is your Massachusetts Beer Reviews. I am not Thomas. And we're going to do some beers from the company that I visited back in April of 2018 when I went to San Francisco. Jean H. Pierre, you are correct. This is Anchor Brewing Company. Jay can tell you a little bit more than me, but they have a long brewing history, and they started brewing what we now consider craft styles of beers since the 70s, and they were the first American brewery to produce, and I do not have the beer today, but they were the first American brewery to produce a barley wine. Again, they're in San Francisco, California. You have to go outside of the sort of the downtown area up some kind of steep hills to get to where Anchor Brewing Company actually is. So really cool brewery. If you're in San Francisco, it's unfortunately run down by dirtiness and homeless people, but Anchor Brewing is one to go and see. The beer that I have this evening from them is their Go West. There it is, Go West IPA.
Go West, young man.
Oh yeah, I've heard it. I've had that beer.
This is a 6.7% alcohol by volume, and I did try this at the brewery, although I haven't had it since. So I'm going to consider this a fresh new beer to try right now. Let's see here. We are joined by Jay Theriault, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Jean H. Pierre, beer and TV rambler from Mobile, Alabama, and special guest Eric Brenner from Eric, a Lions fan. Unfortunately, he is Anchor Brewing Company list this evening, but I'm sure he's got a fantastic Miller Lite this evening with him.
Actually, I'm drinking a Hofbrau Oktoberfest.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
A little bit warm. It's a little bit warm. Don't you think, Eric, to have that?
Pardon me?
Is it too warm outside to drink that beer, John?
No, it's cooled off here quite a bit, but it's supposed to warm back up next week.
Let's see here. Jay Theriault, Louisiana Beer Reviews. Which Anchor beer do you have, and what are your thoughts and opinions on Anchor Brewing Company as a whole?
I'll give you a little
examination.
I'll give you a little history of it. Okay, so
Boom.
I've got Anchor Steam beer. There's a lot of glare, but okay, I've got Anchor Steam. And okay, well, Anchor is a company that's been around. It started in 1896, okay? And they were making this so-called steam beer, which was supposed to be a lot different than regular beer, but I never found it was really that different. But California steam beer. So then it was real popular, like, y'all can hear me all right, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
It was real popular, like Dixie beer in New Orleans, or like a Narragansett in Rhode Island, or Stroh's up in Detroit, same old thing. Then
Yingling.
Yeah, something like that. Regional beer.
Over time, when the major beers started getting so popular, it just kept going downhill. And by the mid-'60s, like around 1966, it basically closed. They only had like one employee who just kind of like kept it like swept up and stuff. They didn't really produce, but maybe a batch a year. And I was real dirty and run down in that brewery, and people said the beer tasted bad. So that was about the end of the road, But then in 1969, this guy with the Maytag family.
Yes, that's right.
Fritz Maytag with that washing machine family, he bought it, and he probably didn't pay too much. And then he wanted to revitalize it, and he couldn't really get people interested in steam beer. So he really reformulated it in 1971 as what we call craft beer today. And they came out with that. And then they started coming out with all types of variations to make it interesting, with brown ale and Breckles brown, and then the Liberty ale, the first ale type thing, and then
it's a little windy in Mobile, Alabama, so I mute John H. Pierre.
Oh, yeah, he's got a little audio problem. So then They started in 1975 with Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, our special ale, remember? And which they've done every year since with a different tree, fir tree. So
they have all their different bottles of Christmas ale live in their tap room to view and enjoy. It's quite amazing, all the different bottles that they've done with the different logos. It's cool.
Yeah, on their website they show all the labels. So then they started kind of getting popular, and they pretty much created the craft beer movement, if you want to call it that. But it really wasn't a movement. It was a business decision that paid off. And then they got so popular that they kind of got like bypassed by the craft beer thing, because people started looking at them as sort of like old-fashioned, not exciting craft beer companies. They started kind of losing sales, and then they got bought out about 2 years ago. And
you're going to tell some history, so I'll let you to it.
No, I'm about finished. And then I'm just going to say my opinion of Anchor is favorable. And when I went to San Francisco in 2006, I went to this Italian restaurant at Fisherman's Wharf.
Yes.
And I had a Dungeness crab and an Anchor steam on draft, so it was really good. But I noticed that you noticed they had some, but we won't get on to that. But I'm favorable towards Anchor steam. You can see this is a amber. It's not just some yellow fizzy stuff, as people like to call them.
Yep.
But I'm favorable. I like Anchor beers. They're not expensive.
If I remember correctly, there's some ownership in Anchor Brewing Company from, I think it's from Sapporo, actually. Or maybe, I think it is Sapporo right now. They don't solely own. I think they have a majority ownership of Anchor, but when the last owners had sold the brewery, they did under the stipulation that they wouldn't fire any of their employees. And so far, Sapporo, since they bought the brewery at the time with those employees, they have not fired the employees just to bring in new employees for the sake of, well, we're new owners, we need new employees. They kept their word to the former owners, which is nice to not only to the brewery, but to the community that relies on them for employment.
Yeah, and Maytag got pretty old, so he couldn't just keep running it,
Correct.
And one more thing, when I was there in 2006, I was there for 3 nights in 2006. I went to 3 Major League Baseball games. Saw the Texas Rangers at the Giants for 3 nights.
Yeah.
But, 2 nights in the afternoon. But I never did get a chance to go to the brewery. I wanted to go, but they had they didn't have very good tour times.
No, you really do have to go on their website, and they really do recommend that you sign up for a time slot to do the brewery tour. I think it's I forget what it was. I thought it was maybe around $25 to do the tour, but it's by far a very great tour. It's worth it. You can get to try a whole host of different beers. You can try all of them that they have on tap, and then you can go back one more time and try any of the other beers that you want to try again. So they had like 7 or 8 different beers to try. It was good.
I wanted to go, but it just didn't work out. And it's not like Miller or Budweiser where you could just walk in, and they have a tour every 30 minutes.
Yep.
Although I would recommend if you go to Anheuser-Busch to take the Brewmasters tour. It's about $25, but it lasts about 2 hours. You get a cap, get a glass, and you get to try beer out of the aging tank. You get to go up to the lab and watch them test all the beer. And you get a lot of beer after the tour too, but it's a great tour. But anyway.
So John H. Pierre also has the Anchor Steam. And before Jay does his review of that beer, I'm curious as to what John H. Pierre's impressions of Anchor Brewery are going into tonight's examination. Or maybe John's coming back just now.
I think he likes it. I know what he's going to say. He likes Anchor beers.
John H. Pierre, are you there?
Yes, gentlemen. I'm sorry about that. I was trying to put the phone on airplane mode so I don't get any calls. But unfortunately,
that cuts off all internet connection.
Exactly. So I said, screw it. If I get a call or interrupted, and it is those are the breaks.
So
Anyway,
we need to know. You and Jay both have Anchor Steam beer. So before Jay gets into his review of Anchor Steam beer, what are your thoughts going into the examination of Anchor Brewing Company as a brewing company?
well, obviously Fritz Maytag, who kind of saved the company, really was, I guess, many consider him, I guess, the godfather of the craft beer movement, because he really came up with a lot of different ideas and different, innovative things to kind of brew beers, and thought that, the beer itself, the steam beer, when their flagship beer was good, but felt that some things just needed to be done. And I think, obviously, being from the family, Maytag family, of course, infamous washing machines and refrigerators and all that good stuff, sort of came with some good ideas. And now, this beer, to me, I've always enjoyed when I've had it several times. Not, as consistently as most folks, but it just has a presence to it and a flavor to it that, it's kind of hard to define what the beer is. It's not a lager. It's not an amber lager. It's not a Vienna lager. You don't know what it is. It's just kind of a mixture of so many different flavors.
Yeah.
And it is just perfect. The flavor, the texture of it. I've always enjoyed drinking this, whenever I gotten it.
So Jay is going to give us. He's probably done it multiple times on his on the Louisiana Beer Reviews channel. But since we are doing Anchor Brewing Company beers, let's hear his thoughts and opinions as he reviews Anchor Steam and drinks it today.
Yeah, I have done it a number of times. They're talking about a thick head, but I don't really see that thick head on this beer. Do you know? But it's
maybe part of the glassware is to blame for not such a large head.
Yeah, it's really not. Huh?
Nothing. Keep going.
Yeah, it's a tulip glass. Really not. I should have had it in a steam glass. But it's amber, like they say. It's got a kind of a toasted malt. I always say this bread crust. Well, I mean, that's what it smells like. But it's got a little fruitiness. It might be kind of old because it's got a little apricot or something. But the taste is fine. When these lager type beers start getting age on them, they'll start developing like that kind of funny fruit flavor. And on draft, it tastes a lot different than this. Okay. The mouth feels light, or I say the mouth feels medium, and it finishes crisp, and it's easygoing. Now, this is like a 1971 craft beer, so the modern people aren't going to go for it too much because it's going to be too ordinary. It's not flashy, you know what I mean? Yeah. So everybody, I don't care. I mean, to me, it's fine. It doesn't have to be flashy. I like it, but I like their Liberty Ale. I like their double Liberty. That double IPA, double Liberty. I've had that. That's really good. What's the one they make? That's the barley wine.
The Old Foghorn.
Yeah, that's really good. So I mean, to me, everything they make is really good. And this one is very good, and I'm enjoying it. I think a company like this, for the long haul, could do better than the flim flam companies that want to put out all these gimmick beers, because over time, people might go back to the old classics, and maybe they don't want to, you know what I'm talking about, get caught up in all of that. Jump to this, jump to that, jump to this, jump to that. Oh, I got to go run and get this new. I mean, I can remember 10 years ago, KBS, I mean, it was unheard of. You just couldn't even get it around here. And if it did come into the store it seemed like in 5 minutes it was gone. Like if you got to the store 2 hours later, you're not going to get KBS. Now, it's sitting on the shelf, setting on the shelf, and it ain't moving. And it's, I said to myself today, I said, how things have changed. I'll say one more thing. I'll say one more thing. Dixie beer in New Orleans is sort of like Anchor in a way, because they were in the same situation with the big companies overshadowing them. They started losing. Of course, they did a lot of stupid things to hurt themselves, but they started to try to branch out in the early 80s, let's say about 10 years after Anchor, with some interesting things. Like they put out a amber light beer in maybe in the late 70s. I have some old cans. Now, I mean, how many people were putting out amber light beers 35, 36, 37 years ago? I don't think too many people. Then later, as time went on, Dixie Beer put out a white chocolate beer. I don't know how many people were putting out a white chocolate beer in 1988. I remember that was even in the newspaper. People say, "What is this?" I never tried it. They put out the red ale, Crimson Voodoo. Then they put out the black lager, the Black and Voodoo. So they tried to kind of do like Anchor did, but of course Dixie, the people that bought Dixie, the Bruno family, they didn't have any money, so they couldn't really afford to push it like Maytag could, you know. So it didn't really. Then Katrina finished them off, Hurricane Katrina. But there was a savior, so to speak, that came in. His name was Tom Benson, the owner of the New Orleans Saints and the New Orleans Pelicans, and he bought the company last year. And they're building a new brewery.
Nice.
Which they've already started. They already started working on the new brewery in the last week or two, and they're going to have it open for tours and everything once they finish it. They'll be back in New Orleans.
Yeah, you definitely have to give some love and praise to the local breweries and the old standbys, and definitely in San Francisco, even to this day. And as I said in the YouTube chat here, while John Anile, hello, is watching with some friends. I even mentioned to him that when you go to San Francisco, you find Anchor Steam on draft everywhere. Just like if you go into Massachusetts and into New England, you're going to find Samuel Adams Boston Lager everywhere. They're not exactly the same beer in any way, shape, and form, but they have some multi-amber-like similarities. But I am curious to hear from Jean H. Pierre that is drinking the Anchor Steam. I'm curious to hear his thoughts and opinions on Anchor Steam in a little review from John H. Pierre.
Hey, wait, let me just real fast. If you look close to the label, it's pretty interesting. This label says copyright 1968. It looks like something from 1968. Okay.
Newer beer, but I want to hear from Jean H. Pierre on his Anchor Steam. And you are on mute, sir. 5, 4.
Go, Sean. Go.
3,
go,
2,
Sean.
1, 0. All right, I'm going. This is a newer beer from Anchor Brewing Company. This is their Go West IPA. And this is a, they say the California Gold Rush compels thousands to go west to see the elephant.
Right.
And the pursuit of happiness. This is as early as 1849. India Pale Ale. All right. In 1975, Anchor is America's first craft brewery, led a modern revival of dry hopped handmade ales. Fast forward to Go West IPA, made with 2-row pale barley malt and dry hop with a unique blend of 4 American hops. It is all right. Anyways, so I poured the beer, and there's some lacing at the top of my Teku glass. That's where the head was. There is some cloudiness to it. There is some bubbles, not a whole lot of bubbles, and it's kind of orangey copper in some light. And in the nose, you're getting a whole bunch of citrus, orangey notes, grapefruit notes. Nobody can hear you, John H. Pierre. You're on mute. It is a bunch of citrusy notes, grapefruit. There is that piney kind of a resinous note to it. I'm kind of getting that similar yeast strain that's in, and that amber malty note to it, that toasty malty note to it, caramel malts, like you're getting in your Anchor Steam. And that's kind of a syrupiness, but that is what I'm going to call the That's what I'm going to call that resiny note. It's not hugely hoppy or anything like that. They say Apollo and Bravo hops, and it's dry hop with Citra, Equinox, Calypso, and Eureka hops. They don't mention the IBUs. It is 6.7%, and they first bottled and canned it in 2016, and it was first brewed in 2014. So to be different, I bought Go West IPA. Cheers, everybody.
Made a good choice.
And it is a very malt-forward IPA, to be completely honest. There's lots of caramel and toffee kind of sweet malts, but it's not a overly sweet beer. It has a nice sort of toasty, white, bready kind of a malt mixed with that toffee caramel. Almost orange, almost like a candied orange in the sweetness, but again, it's not quite that sweet. It's going in that direction. It has some resinous pine in it. It has that Anchor Brewing, that Anchor Steam kind of yeast strain in it. You taste a lot of beers throughout a similar brewery's range of beers. You'll get similar ingredients. I'm getting a similar type of a yeast strain from that, if that makes any sense, if you've had Anchor Steam.
Makes sense.
And again, caramel, toffee, citrusy, orange, and grapefruit, and some pine resin. It's not overpowering. I would say it's pretty dry. I can get a little bit of the bitterness lingering around. It's only slightly on the chewy side. I would say it's a straight up medium. It's somewhat crisp. It's fairly crisp. I'd say on the light side of moderate. It is drinkable. It is highly refreshing, and it is an easygoing beer. So I think if you want a 6.7% beer, you like West Coast IPAs, more on the sweet, piney, resinous side and toasty, then you might like Go West IPA. But definitely it's saying Go West IPA is a good name because it definitely tastes like you're going west to the West Coast for an IPA. So far so good, I think. Yeah.
Did you ever try their double Liberty Ale?
To be completely honest, I do not recall, but I have a feeling when I went to the brewery that I did. They make a New England style IPA. It's called the San Francisco IPA. It is brewed with, I believe, mangoes.
I never heard
That's
of
all
that.
that it tastes like is mangoes. It's not a really great. That was the worst beer they had. It tasted literally of just plain mangoes and not of beer, so I did not like that beer. But
The double Liberty,
I must have tried. I don't remember.
It's like a double IPA. I mean, it's strong. It's a strong. I know you've had their. I know Eric and Jean. You have had their Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, our special ale, huh?
Yes. Eric, a Lions fan. You can answer that question, sir, and then let us know your thoughts on Anchor Brewing Company.
I'll admit I don't think I've had that beer that Ron just referenced. I really can't get any Anchor Brewing beers here, although I haven't really looked for them though either. So I really don't have an opinion on them because I haven't had them.
Okay.
Well,
sorry, that's a short answer, but it is what it is.
Here's the other question: do you have a beer with you at the moment, and if so, which beer are you drinking?
Go ahead, Ron.
He's gonna go
away
for a second.
All right.
Okay.
I don't have a beer with me right now, but I just finished the Hofbrau Oktoberfest beer.
How's that?
I thought it was very bland. Nothing for the ABV level. I thought it's just another whole hum Marzen style lager.
And go ahead.
It tasted to me. I thought the Sam Adams Oktoberfest is kind of what I kind of gauge it on.
I was going to say
Oktoberfest beers on it. I know we're not talking about Oktoberfest.
That's your benchmark for the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and even I think that has gone down, but in the same breath, I also think that having higher ABV IPAs, higher ABV stouts, and maybe even some amber ales, the higher ABV levels with more malts, more flavor, have maybe I guess the term has kind of ruined my palate to the lower
Right.
ABV beers.
Sure. I think I've never seen it, but I feel like there's a Leinenkugel line of beers that they do. It's called the Big Eddie series. I think they
Yeah,
actually
I've had the Russian Imperial one.
and I've aged that before, and I was not a huge fan of that beer, to be completely honest. But I mentioned that beer because, and they're owned by Miller Brewing Company at this point, Leinenkugel. The Big Eddie is their Imperial line of beers, and I actually believe that they make an Imperial Oktoberfest. So that could be right up a lot of people's alley, maybe. Maybe that would be more adventurous and up your alley in taste buds, although
And that beer was at 6.3%, so I was actually hoping for a little bit more flavor.
Huh. That's actually pretty good for that's a heftier beer for Steinhoisting. Holy crap.
Yeah, I kind of put that as a Mars, maybe in the malt liquor category, being a lager, a Marzen style lager, but
I can see that.
You don't have the taste of a malt liquor, obviously, but
you could introduce a malt liquor fan to something different with that. Sure.
Yeah.
So I never got to myself here, but about my thoughts on Anchor Brewing Company. I might be Jean H. Pierre is having a whole fucking conversation by himself.
I think he's conversating with somebody there.
You're conversating, man.
Hey guys, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Your neighbor came over and was bullshitting with you, wasn't he?
I am absolutely not going to speak anymore. We need to ask you we need to ask you to do a brief review on your Anchor Steam beer.
Well, like I said, as I said briefly, Anchor Steam is a very enjoyable. Again, it's kind of hard to define what it is. It is a Vienna lager, amber, whatever style it is. It's just any very enjoyable. Yes, a very enjoyable beer, and it's a shame for the price for the 6-pack is like what $9.99 for a 6-pack for this beer, and that's and some places maybe $10.99. Publix $9.99 at Rouse's. So a little high, but good thing I got the single. But it's a very enjoyable beer. I wish it was available at a price similar to maybe Yingling, so traditional lager, but then I would get it. But outside of that, a very enjoyable beer. Would you agree with me, Mr. Terrio?
I would agree because I don't really see it too much anymore, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That's the beer
same
world.
Here.
I mean, that's the beer world. We get stuff.
Yep, neighbors. Woo.
It's hot.
Yep, neighbors.
The beer, we get stuff and the beer will be popular, and then a month later, you never see it again. You know
what Narragansett Beer Company's slogan is? Hi, neighbor.
Yeah.
I love Gansett. Love Gansett. I wish, I wish somebody gives me a case and send it down from Rhode Island. Please send me a case.
That Fresh Catch Golden Ale, which is dry hopped with Citra, and it's 4.2%. It's a light tasting beer, but it has the same flavor of hop, of that Citra hop. It's very light and it's done so well and good. But are there any specific flavors and notes that come to your mind?
Caramel.
As you drink
I'm getting some caramel flavors to this right now. Low caramel.
What's the date on the back of your bottle?
8. Well, what's the code? What's the code? I will interpret the code for us all. I have the website out to help us.
It is 8AR.
8AR. Let me go to the website quickly.
I had 8AX, I think.
All right, you have. Say that again, John.
8AR.
AR. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the date code currently used by Anchor Brewing Company. Okay, it works like this. The first character is always the numeric and represents the last digit of the year. So you have last digit of the year. The second character is the second character is always alpha and represents the month by using the first letter of the month unless that letter has already been used. So you have AR.
That's what it says on my bottle. Behind it.
A-R.
April?
There it is.
Yeah, it must be April. That's what I'm guessing. 'Cause
What
mine
the
says the letter.
mother?
Mine says the letter K, which I'm not seeing the letter K anywhere on this website.
This is it. As you can see in my bottle right there.
Yep.
Right there on living color.
The month of Kentucky.
What's the month of Kentucky? I am confused.
And there's the price of the beer I paid for it right there.
Well, mine's 70K. I'm on the website and I can't even understand this crap.
Hey, let Uncle Ronald look.
All right, you let us look.
And now I'm about to drink something else.
All right, good. Again, the first
I
character
am too.
represents the last digit of the year. Second character always is the alpha and represents the month by using the first letter of the month. So mine is, wait a minute. No, mine is 2017. Oh, I got it. Mine's 2017 and this is October. So I have an old IPA. Holy
What
God.
the hell?
I think I just understood that.
At least you didn't have the 6-year one from Brooklyn like what I had.
Yeah, I understand this now.
That's not good.
So the two letters are the letters of the month. The first digit is which month out of the 12. So mine's 7, mine's October, I think is how I'm pronouncing that right. Oh no. That last number is the year, so 2017. And then the OK is October. There we go. I got it now. I thought I had a new beer. I guess not. All right. Sorry about that.
I thought
folks.
so too. Thought so too, but I was bamboozled.
But
Led
mine
astray.
still has a big, like resiny hop kind of a feel to it, but it feels like it's a low bitterness to it because of how it dries. It's such a clean. It's not the most clean drying IPA, but it's a pretty dry IPA. So I think if you like West Coast style IPAs, but you also want a little touch of drinkability and not just a messy hoppy beer and no malts. If you want a hoppy beer with some malts from the West Coast, I say Go West IPA might be one to explore. Definitely. I think it was $1.89 seems about what I paid for it, I think.
You don't think it's
Go ahead.
You don't think it's because it's October of 17 that some of the hops have faded and you're getting a malt forwarded IPA now, right?
It could be, though, but I feel like I'm getting some pine resin in it as well still, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go ahead, Jay.
you notice when I talk, my face doesn't show up?
I think it's up to me, Jay.
This has happened to me before, so I know what you mean, but today it's not happening.
Like I'm talking now with Jean's face is showing. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to be a big star. You understand?
If you click on the little icon of Jean, maybe your face will show up again. So make sure that it's not highlighted in white. Anyways, yes.
It doesn't
Jay.
matter. Oh, there I am.
There you
Hey,
go. Yeah, I fixed it.
first,
Go ahead, Jay.
I want to greet the universe.
And while you do your little talk here, if you want to rate some Anchor Steam, feel free to do so.
Okay. Now, mine was a 8AX, so mine was like the end of April. Well, that's not too old. Heck, 4 months old. All right. Now, I would rate it a
88.
No, but close. I would say 90, like a A minus. It's a peculiar beer. You know, Anchor Steam beer is peculiar. It's not like your normal type thing. So if you're looking for something that's just regular, it's more like irregular. But it's not. It depends on what context you're looking at it in. You know, it depends on what kind of drinker you are. If you're just somebody that likes to try different beers and you're kind of open-minded about it, I think you'll love it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like real uptight about it and everything has to be super spectacularly tremendous and you can't, like you can't take low profile and subtle flavors, then it probably you won't like it. But I like it. You know, boy, I'm gonna drink some Drumcastle Irish whiskey now.
That thing comes out a lot on Wednesday nights, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I'm trying.
Boom.
Because in the name of science, I'm trying to finish the bottle.
I'm gonna have to look for that. It seems like that might be an economical bottle of whiskey.
How much it cost me?
How much?
How much?
$19.99.
No,
Ooh.
it was
Cheaper, huh?
$14 on sale
Okay, I like that price a lot.
at Albert. It was an Albertsons brand. Okay, I'll show you.
I still, I mean, whiskey's got. We're gonna go on a tangent for 5 seconds. Whiskey is such a beverage that has such a large price range to it. I like a lot of different whiskeys. I like a lot of different scotches and bourbons. I know now Jay is going to get me on the bourbon reviews, which could be a cool thing if I ever get to joining you on that.
I might join you on the reviews during the winter months.
I'm a big fan of that whiskey that Jay knows about there. Why is it blanking me? I had it yesterday, for God's sakes.
Where is it from?
The Buchanan's 12.
Oh, the Buchanan's 12.
I
You
love
already
that whiskey. That is
Scotland.
great.
Gotcha.
Easy drinking stuff. It's good.
That is a cool.
It's dangerously drinkable. That's one of the reasons I like it.
A nice whiskey sour with a steak.
What?
Yes,
What?
A whiskey sour with a nice medium rare steak. That will go well.
Wow, I had a medium rare steak for dinner. But anyways, I had that with I had a Boggle red wine that had Petite Syrah, Zinfandel, and Cabernet Sauvignon as
Syrah, yes, Cabernet and Syrah. Those are my wines.
I like Petite Syrah a lot, but
can I
go ahead?
Can I mention two things? I mean, we're kind of finished with Anchor.
Do it.
What's coming up is that on my channel, we've got August. No, not August. What am I talking about? September 3rd on Labor Day night. I have to work on Labor Day because that's what it is. Labor Day, you work. Labor Day, get it? Labor, you work. All right. So,
without a kid on Labor Day.
What?
You're in Labor Day.
Well, if you're
you're a woman.
Now, we're gonna do the Black Velvet Canadian blended whiskey.
Okay, that's easy to find stuff.
Black Velvet. I have to look at my area because I'll be home that day.
I know that.
Easy to find and cheap.
And you can find smaller bottles of it.
Secondly,
write that down.
LSU plays Miami that night on ESPN.
No. You don't think I would do a hangout on that night? No, they're playing on the second.
Whoa.
Okay. So it's Florida State somebody, right? I guess.
Yeah, right. I'll be like talking really fast, like, okay, this is Black Velvet. We're gonna look at it. Okay, you taste it. All right, bye. Go watch the game. But Eric, a Lions fan, Michigan and Michigan State are both in the top 20, so I just started bringing it up. Anyway, that was released yesterday evening. Secondly, we have some wines coming up. Livingston Cellars and Taylor. And so I just thought I'd throw that out there. And
more Taylor wine. All right.
Yeah, because James P. Madonna's like geeked out over that. And I mean, I go right along with it. You know, I'm caught up in it. So.
All right.
No wine
Lake Taylor, Jay.
No wine.
Lake Taylor wine?
Wait,
Jay,
what?
Or
which Taylor wine are you going to do on your channel?
Well, we have Taylor dry sherry coming up.
Okay, I think I know where I can get that.
Yeah, and then we want to do Taylor golden sherry.
Golden.
And then we're talking, and then we're talking about doing Taylor Marsala wine
with some chicken.
Yeah, people cook with it, but you can drink it. And then we're going to talk about doing Taylor Madeira wine because we've already done the port, the Tawny port. Yeah, we did Taylor port, we did Taylor Tawny port, we did Taylor.
Wow, they got this thing every year in the town of New Bedford, Massachusetts, which is a big Portuguese population in Massachusetts. They do this. I think it's called the Heart of the Blessed Sacrament or something named that. The Portuguese festival. And they got their own Madeira wine that they serve at the festival. everybody that I've heard that goes to that thing says you got to watch out for this Madeira wine because it's like 17, 18% wine. They give you it in these little cups.
But they don't knock you out. Now, what Taylor
I'm gonna have to join you for that. Wow.
Yeah, what Taylor does, authentic Madeira wine only comes from the island of Madeira in Portugal, where Kent Beer Reviews goes sometimes. He was talking about that. But anyway, other companies like Taylor, they say, well, okay, we're not making wine in Madeira, we're making it in New York State, but we can mimic it. You know what I mean? Like they try to mimic it.
Right.
They don't. The Portuguese don't want Americans selling Madeira wine because they say it's not from Madeira Island. You're cheating. And the American companies say, well, guess what? We're not under your law, and we're making a style just like we make champagne in America, and it doesn't come from Champagne, France. But anyway.
Yes, Jean Pierre.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jay, Taylor, Lake Taylor, same company, right? Like the Lake Taylor White, the Lake Taylor Red, same company?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
The
Lake Taylor Red is a very bargain brand wine, as is the Lake Taylor White.
I might have to look for that.
About Lake County White and Lake County.
Lake County Taylor, right?
Lake County, yeah.
I'm not sure that I got two things here. I'm not sure that I actually rated some Go West IPA, but I'm thinking, and Michael Komarov would write this down in his book every week for putting our ratings down. I would probably, if I had to give a number, and I would say, Michael, write this number down, 85, write it down, 85 out of 100 for Go West IPA. It's a little...
Taking into account that it's not fresh.
Somewhat. I'm getting a lot of the hop oil, piney, resinous notes. So that's actually kind of amazing to me. If I'm reading October and it's 2017, then this still having those hoppy pine resin notes is pretty awesome. So that's what I'm enjoying about this one. It's a little bit on that. I said that it's not quite like on the candied sugar sweet side of things, but it's reminding me of like a candied orange almost in a way. It has that kind of a sweetness to me right now. So I don't know if maybe this beer could potentially use even more malts. Maybe I'd have to go to this a little bit fresher, but if they use more malt, No, I back that up. If they use more hops in this beer, maybe that orangey sweet component would diminish a little bit more. I could get some more bready malts, but then I could get more of the hop character from this beer. Maybe that's what this beer would really require for me personally to give it a higher rating. But as of right now, it's still on the sweet kind of side for me, which is where I guess I'm not a huge fan of the beer. And it actually kind of has a slightly chalky finish, if you know what I mean by that. So it's the finish, I guess, is what I'm saying. Maybe because I'm at the end of the bottle and it is unfiltered. It's a little gritty in texture. So my only two complaints there. So 85. It's still higher than average beer for damn sure. And I would still recommend everybody try Go West IPA as well as Liberty Pale Ale. Hello. And the double Liberty. Sure. Why not?
I think you need to get it fresh, Hey, can you want me to read the comments?
Certainly. Go ahead.
All right,
some will be about me, I'm sure.
Gabe says hi, and then Thomas Nettles says hello. John Anilli says hello all. Hope everyone is doing well. Gabe said yes, John, I'm doing well today. John Anilli, I've seen the Christmas ale bottle the size of a small child. I think it was in 2016. It was at least $100. Yep, they sell that around here. It's like a gallon or 2 gallons.
It's like 55 gallons, I believe. Or no, it's a 55-ounce bottle.
It's more than that.
Bottle.
For $100?
I thought that $100 is a little bit too much. I've seen that bottle, and I actually bought it once. It was not anywhere near $100 when I bought it.
No, it's not that much. I think I saw it for like $55. Tom's Metal says that's too much for beer. I don't see it ever for that price. And then John said it was a special edition. It must have been a couple of gallons. Yeah, it's huge. I know the bottle you speak of, but it's way too much for that. Okay, hello, folks. I'd like to try some of their beers on draft. They're good when I was in San Francisco. I agree, because I had the Anchor Steam on draft. It was dynamite. Anchor Steam is like Sam Adams, Boston Lager, Massachusetts, everywhere on tap. I bet right from the source. I had Anchor Steam at AT&T Park during the Giants Nationals baseball game. Gabe
That
says,
was on Metallica Day in April. Yeah.
Gabe says, here in Phoenix, Arizona, there is a white chocolate wheat beer. And Jay,
Wow.
there's also a Michelob Ultra Amber beer. Well, yeah, we get that.
It's okay for a light beer.
Headline: Dixie Brewing Company accidentally drops white chocolate candy bar into the batch. Company to sell the beer as a special release, says John and Nearly. Well, they did it on purpose, but what they did one time in 1975 was they waxed all their floors in the brewery, and then all the fumes from the wax got into the beer, and it made the beer taste like floor wax. So then that kind of killed the company. All right, Anchor. Yeah, like that was their kind of like operation. Anchor definitely thinks very highly of their products. They're certainly not cheap, at least not here. Well, in Louisiana, they're not too expensive. Anchor Porter was really good. Oh, yeah. I haven't had too many Anchor beers, says John and Illy. So pretty good. I see you, Ron, even if you can't see yourself. Okay. Sometimes what people are seeing as an audience is different than what we're seeing as the people doing the video. That's true.
I've had exactly that issue, Jay, where only you see yourself. And it wasn't, and most of the time my issue isn't that I've clicked on another person's video feed and it's just staying on there. Occasionally just won't move from just me. I don't know why that is sometimes, but that happens to me every now and then. It does.
Yeah, and then I remember one time I did a video with Maria Devon, and it just wouldn't jump back and forth. So it was either like me talking or her talking.
So,
and I told her, I said, well, that doesn't matter. So what, And then she got so frustrated about it. She said, I'm deleting the video. I said, why would you?
That's lame.
I said, don't delete the video. I mean, but no, it drove her crazy.
I got a couple of things here.
What?
Yeah, say that again, John.
I hope she's doing okay. I hope she's doing well. If she's watching, hi.
Me as
That's
well.
all.
Hello.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things here. One of which is my overall assessment of Anchor. I'm not sure that I actually said it before the review, but I did go to the brewery, and my thoughts of the brewery were very high, just based on historic nature and them having a long foothold and doing some of these at the time very exotic beer stuff. And they brought a lot of the stuff to the map. Do some of it very, very well, and I think that they're a great brewery, like so many others. They have a pretty extensive portfolio that are going to have something that is going to appeal to anybody in the craft beer community. We didn't actually talk about it, but Anchor Steam beer is a byproduct of a time when refrigeration never existed. So what happened was the Anchor Steam beer is a beer that's brewed as an ale, but because of poor refrigeration purposes, is actually stored and lagered like a lager beer. So that's how you get Anchor Steam beer. Sort of similar, but in its own way different from cream ales. But both beers are cream ale, depending on how the cream ale is brewed. And Anchor Steam beers, which are trademarked by Anchor Steam. If your brewery makes an Anchor Steam style beer, you by law cannot in the United States call it an Anchor Steam beer. You must call it California common beer for that reasoning. So anyways, cream ales and
Kolsch.
depending on how they're brewed, and Anchor and California Common beers are very similar in they're an ale / lager, kind of a hybrid in its style and in its flavors. So
Yeah,
that's
like
the
the
Anchor
Kolsch.
Steam in a nutshell in the California Common beers. My assessment on Anchor Steam as a brewery, even after the examination, is again, they're successful for a reason. They've done some of these styles that no one else ever did. They've done a really good job in the craft beer community. And historic nature, drink them, love them. I do. And you'll find one that suits your taste buds. In the next few weeks, I have some ideas for beer reviews. Next week, we're going to do the beers of St. Bernardus. I got to buy a St. Bernardus beer for that.
I had a little problem with that.
And then the first week of September, Erica Lions fan, pay attention. The first week of September, I want to try to get all hands on deck for this one because I have a really cool topic, and it's going to be called Meet a Reviewer. I want all of these reviewers that generally come on a Wednesday night to join us. And I have 4 questions. I will not ask them now, but I have 4 questions that I want to ask every beer reviewer. Bring whatever beer you want. I want to introduce. I'm sure people know all these beer reviewers, but just to get a little bit closer insight to your favorite Wednesday night beer reviewer here on what Tyler calls the International Beer Reviewers Guild. I want Tyler, I want John, I want Jay, I want Eric Alliance fan, I want Michael Kormaroff and William Kepley, and whoever else wants to join, Gabriel Salaya. I want you guys to join us, and I want to hear your thoughts on these questions that I have, and let's get the viewers to know a little bit more about your craft beer, macro beer, a malt liquor drinking, or all of the above drinking experiences, and more about you as a reviewer. Yeah.
Could I do a personal video with you, and you could explain to me why you got into bands and music?
If your name is not Maria Devon, then yes.
I'm just kidding with
you. So that's the next 2 weeks that I have in mind. I have some other topics. I thought about maybe we could review either Guinness Draft or Nitro beers. Maybe we could just do plain old West Coast style IPAs. Another one that I thought of was
like the one I just had tonight.
Beers from Louisiana.
The other one that I thought of was North Coast Brewing Company.
Oh, yeah.
So we will definitely formulate for the next 3 weeks for the last 3 weeks of September, but stay tuned for the next 2 weeks of St. Bernardus and
I might skip that one.
St. Bernardus and September 5th. Or is it September 5th? Meet a beer reviewer. So
everybody needs to go get their Vienna sausage because of Friday night.
Yes, if you're going to be there, which I will not. I'm banned practicing.
Oh, well.
Does anybody have any final thoughts on Anchor Brewing Company beers?
I like them.
John HBR.
I love them. I think they're good. Again, the Anchor Steam beer is a very enjoyable beer, as well as the lager. I'm glad they're coming further out, more to the east, as George Norrie likes to say on his radio show, Coast to Coast, east of the Rockies, west of the Rockies, east of the Rockies. We're starting to get more and more of their beers here. So very enjoyable, very well made. So let's hopefully I would like to try that IPA that you had tonight, Eric.
Go west.
I know where you can get it.
Yeah. So.
Is that?
By the way, I'll be doing a review of Envie by that brewery in Louisiana, Parish Brewery Company in Louisiana, Jay. So.
Yeah, Envie.
Oh shoot! Here I am. Envie. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know what envie means?
Envie. In French Creole, it means envie. I have arrived. Envie. Something like that.
No, it means like you have a craving for something.
Any
Movie.
any
Envy.
final thoughts of Anchor Brewing Company before we sign off for the evening?
Yeah, my final thoughts is I like Anchor, and sometimes I have an envy for their beers.
Oh, yeah, me too. Equalmente, likewise. So, Erica Lyons fan, thank you for stopping by and talking about that interesting Oktoberfest. That does sound like one I would want to try. Yeah,
It's
we
kinda
might do
home to me.
Oktoberfest later on a Wednesday. Who knows? We probably will in October, I bet. But until next time, I'm gonna sign off here. Keep tasting those great beers. Peace. No.
Good night, world, America, and the world watching.
I say,
live.
until next time, keep tasting those great beers. Cheers. We'll see you
It's
soon.
Drink
Cheers,
Mickey's.
Keep
Cheers,
on
we'll
drinking.
see you soon.
Yes.
Cheers.
John's here, the beer until. Keep on watching, and always cheers.
Godzilla versus Megalon.
And that's a wrap. Godzilla will win.